News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, officially has a Twitter account. It is a government official account, and I am following it now. So tweeted out the first tweet coming from them in a moment, or already did that. Follow me on Twitter at Chris Kroc Show. I have also on Instagram and on Facebook at Chris Kroc Show, CHRISKROK. This is just nuts. A Yale psychiatrist told fake news MSNBC host Joy Reid that it's fine to disown your relatives who voted for Trump. Cut them out of your life. Absolutely, just cut them out of your life. No problem. That's absolutely good.
When you know someone voted that way, do you recommend, just from a psychological standpoint, being around them? We got the holidays coming up.
So I love that you asked this question because, there is a push, I think just a societal norm that if somebody is your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you are going to a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why, to say, I have a problem with the way that you voted because it went against my very livelihood and I'm not going to be around you this holiday.
I mean, these people are nuts, aren't they? Isn't this crazy? Cut out your family members, cut out your loved ones. Here's one of the things that was said to Reid said, if you're an LGBTQ person and you know someone in your family voted essentially against your rights, or a woman knowing, this man was calling people the B word. J.D. Vance was literally calling Kamala Harris the trash. We're going to take out the trash. I know a lot of black women who are incredibly triggered by that. What? Those women need help. They need psychiatric treatment. This crazy psychiatrist lady from surprise, Yale made headlines last year when she said doctors should be forced to wear body cameras to catch the racist ones. Body cameras, your doctor. Yeah, hey, no problem. I'll bend over here for the check of my rump. No, getting this on camera in case this gets hacked. I want people to be able to see my butt. My butt, if you will. I'll just leave it at that. I have witnessed countless racist behaviors towards black patients, she said, often coupled with conscious and cruel statements. My gosh, these people are nuts. Anyway, then you had Sonny Hostin on The View agreeing with this. President-elect Trump is just a different type of candidate from the things he said and the things he's done and things he'll do. It's more of a moral issue for me. I think it's more of a moral issue for other people. I would say it was different than George Bush got elected. Maybe you agreed with his policies, but you didn't agree with his policies, but you didn't feel like he was a deeply flawed person, deeply flawed character, deeply flawed in morality. And then you, along with Mark Milley, along with John Kelly, warned us how deeply flawed this candidate was. She was talking to one of the supposedly Republican co-host. I think, and so when I think people feel the same, someone voted against their families, but against them and their people that they loved, I think it's okay to take a beat. And then nonetheless, none other than Jesse Waters on Fox News said that his mother is not inviting him this year to Thanksgiving. His mom and his dad are liberals. He talks about them from time to time. Here is a piece of audio from that show with Jesse Waters saying, no mom, no Thanksgiving, no invite.
People are taking some space in the Waters household. I'll have you know that I was not invited to my mother's house for Thanksgiving. Apparently there wasn't enough room. She said it was a scheduling situation, and then at the last second invited me to come over on Black Friday. I told her, no thanks, I'll be at Best Buy.
Okay, that is not okay. That is really, really bad. And I imagine that you've had many, many problems with relatives over the years. I imagine that maybe your friends have told you about problems that they've had over the years. And for example, I have people in my family, my close family, that there's one person and that person and their family is way left. And so there was stuff with COVID, like, oh, don't go near so-and-so because they're not vaccinated, to the kids that were coming near us early on, that year after COVID or whatever. And then there's been things, and we used to have some political things, but it's like, I just tell them, I love you and I want to spend time with you. I don't want to talk about politics. It's that simple. I want to spend time with you. I want to be with you. I want to have a relationship with you. So it's stupid to talk about that. I'm not going to change their mind. They're not going to change my mind. The best thing I can do is love on them. So I want to ask you this. What are you doing for the holidays with your relatives who despise your political beliefs? And what kinds of family problems has this caused for you? And do you know of problems that's going on with your friends? So what kind of family problems has this caused with you? Political friction at the holidays? And do you know of problems maybe that your friends have faced as well as maybe you? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. There is nothing appropriate or healthy about cutting off loved ones for the holidays because you disagree with their politics. They're not actively working to hurt you. If they were working to hurt you, they wouldn't want to be around you like that. I think you're the one that's got a problem if you don't want to be around us. And so how do you handle that? And the way I handled it, as I was saying, was, and lines are wide open, chime in right now. We got plenty of time to put you on. 800-288-WBAP is our number. But the way to handle it is to, if it comes up, say, I don't want to talk politics at all. I just want to be with you. I want to have, enjoy our relationship together. If they keep insisting, I would just say, I just don't want to do this, please. And if they say it again, you say, listen, I don't want to do this. And if you can't do that, maybe you want to take a breather in the other room for a little bit. I'm not going to talk about it. And at that point, if they storm out, you should be sad, but don't attack them. Don't get into a political argument with them. You're not going to win it. All you're going to do is hurt the relationship. And if they are the ones that have a problem, an issue, don't you take the bait and don't you have an issue. If you can't love them and overlook anything, their views, no matter how radical left or right they are, if you can't overlook it, then you're the one with the problem. You're the one with the problem. Because if you are willing to be around them and then this happens and you get mad about it or you want to play the game and go bite back at them, then you're just as bad. You need to be the big guy or the big woman in the room. You're an adult. Maybe they aren't. Maybe they don't act like it, but you need to act like it. You need to control yourself. Don't point the finger at other people. You're the one who's responsible for your behavior. You are responsible for how you respond, and you should not react. You should respond. And if you know this thing might be coming up, be ready for it. What does that mean? It means you have some idea of how you're going to respond, and don't freaking react. How do you respond? You respond by just being calm and poised and expect it to happen and have a plan for what you're going to do. And what you're going to do is say, if it's somebody that brings it up, not at you, but at somebody else. By the way, I've had people in my family that I agree with 100%, and but they do that to the liberal person at the table, and I correct them and I say, listen, so and so, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to do this. Please. Actually, I don't say don't do that. I say, I don't want to do this. Can we please not talk about politics? That you can do something that's not confrontational. So that's what I would do. So what are you doing for the holidays with your relatives who despise your political beliefs? I hope you don't think it's okay to cut people off of their political views, whatever side you're on. I think that's extraordinarily unhealthy. And what kinds of family problems has this caused for you? And if not you and your family, do you know of problems like this that have happened with your friends and their family? 800-288-WBAP is our number. Lines wide open. Chime in right now. News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. More details from a report in the Daily Mail talking about Jesse Waters and his family. I don't think this is okay. And my mom wants to take a little room from me. That's like what you mean to say is, if you weren't saying it nicely, you'd say, my mom has a mental illness and can't handle that her candidate lost and is angry with me. He said, by the way, I'll get more into this in a second, because I'm going to tell you what he said about when Obama won for 2 terms, how it was like for him to be at our house for Thanksgiving and Christmas. You can imagine that, right? So I'll tell you what he said about that, and we'll continue with this coming up next on the Chris Kroc Show in 2 minutes at 9:16 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. I was just talking to one of my friends, and they told me about a story about one of their best friends. They went to Christian college together, and years later, the friend brings up who you voting for. This is in 2020, and he says, I'm voting for Biden. He says, who are you voting for? He goes, I'm voting for Trump. But he goes, I can't believe you would do that. And that's the most unchristian thing you could do, to vote for somebody like that. I told my friend, I said, well, wait a minute, like, Biden is an abortionist in chief, and that's okay. And then he also attacked him for not getting vaccinated. Boy, that guy bought a hook, line, and sinker. You know, one of the things I was going to say, and I'm asking you about people that cut you off or that relatives that want to fight at the Thanksgiving or Christmas. How do you handle that? You know, what kind of family problems has politics caused for you with these get-togethers with relatives or the holidays? And do you know of problems maybe your friends have gone through? What are you doing for the holidays with your relatives who despise your political beliefs? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. You know, how do they even know your politics? Why would you want, why would they bring it up? Why would they ask you? Keep it out of it. Let's just enjoy each other, right? So stuff will come up here and there with some of the loony ones in my family, but usually they respect and they move on. I think that's a healthy border, a healthy boundary. So my question is, why do you ask about it? Why does it matter to you? What does that mean to do with my friendship? My friend told me he cut him off permanently. He disowned him on Facebook. He cut him off. He has no way of knowing how to get in touch with him. It's 4 years later. Isn't that sick? For what? For what? What does he want to do what does he want to do with my friend over here? Does he want to put him in a concentration camp? Does he want to kill him? What do you want to do? Leave him alone. Sad. JC in Dallas. Hello. Well, let's go. You're on WBAP.
Hey, how's it going tonight?
Good, JC. How are you?
Hello?
Yes. It's going fine. Yes.
Oh, good. Hey, so what you're talking about relatives, and who they voted for, that was right up the Kamala Harris's playbook. If you looked at her commercials, one of her commercials was like, you can go in the voting booth and you don't have to tell your husband who you voted for.
Lie to your husband. Lie to your wife.
Yeah, lie to your husband. And then she also talked about, if I remember correctly, something about your friends, the men go into the voting booth. You don't have to tell your friends who you voted for.
Right.
Well, most men I know say, I voted for, Donald Trump, or I voted for Kamala Harris, because they're men and they say who they voted for. So this is just right up the left's playbook. This is what they want. They want the division.
Right.
And that's what we have to get away from in this country.
I agree. That is exactly right. It needs to not be a litmus test for a friendship or a relationship with a neighbor. That's just horribly unhealthy to do that. It really is. I appreciate your call, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remarked to you also about my neighbors that are extraordinarily, massively liberal, far left, and they had all the signs up for all the people who lost. Like every sign lost. Colin Allred lost. The local, Congress people or legislators lost, and President lost and all that. But their signs are down the next day. By the way, their Trump hair sign with Trump's hair with a no on it is still up. It's the only one that's up still. Oh! It never moved from the same little corner, little tucked away corner in the front yard. I looked around for that one. I was like, as I'm driving by, I don't want them to notice I'm looking on. And it's not about that. We have a good relationship, and I like that. We look out for each other. Terry in Fort Worth, WBAP. Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderfully, thanks. I'm at work, so
if
am I. If my pager goes off, I've got to run.
Okay.
Oh, I know you are.
Right.
But pretty much everybody, well, I will say every single person in my family that I'm blood related to is, pretty much conservative. My son's girlfriend is not.
Oh.
And, well, I mean, I don't have day-to-day dealings with her, because they're older. They're in their 30s. But I extended an olive branch. And she turned me down, and that's fine. She blamed her brother being in town. But, I mean, I did extend it, and I didn't, say, hey, come on, it'll be fun, whatever, blah, 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 because from the past, I know that I don't respect her boundaries, evidently. So,
but you don't respect her boundaries. You mean politically? Did it come up naturally? Is that what set it off?
No, any boundaries. She sets boundaries that nobody really knows about. And if you say, hey, but blah blah blah, you give a good argument about hey, this would be fun because of this or that, or this might be good for all of us, or whatever, blah blah blah. It's like I told her no. I don't know why she doesn't respect my boundaries. Well, my thing is let's debate about stuff, but she's like, no means no, don't pursue it.
About political ideas or just things you might want to do with together or something? Everything. Okay. Yeah, that's a problem. I hope your son sees that and realizes it's a red flag. Because if the more you tell your son about the problems that you think she has, the more he's going to want to push you away and go towards her, right?
I know.
So
we're all just cringing.
Yes, yes. Pray that he sees the light, and the best way for him to see the light is by you to just keep pouring into him and loving him and respecting her boundaries by basically, doing the best you can to just not engage. Pretty much
yeah. Is, what I do is don't engage, I mean, I knew she would turn me down, but I mean, it was worth an effort.
If he does he come to the family stuff while she says no?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Okay. That's good. And what you got to do is make sure he feels warm and welcome always on these things so that he can see, I want to be with my family. And eventually he'll have a fork in the road and he'll have to say, my time with my mom is so joyful with my family that I don't ever want to miss that. And this woman insists on these things. I'm not willing to make that decision for her. So you keep pouring into him, and you sounds like you're doing the right thing, Mom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he knows he's always welcome. Always welcome. She's welcome, too.
Yep.
We're not going to pound on her. We don't.
No. Just wear your MAGA hat, have your Trump flag outside, and your Make America Great Again yard sign out there. Only when she comes over. And don't say anything. Just act like it's normal. Wear your MAGA hat and your MAGA shirt. And then say, what do you mean? What?
I thought about getting Donald Trump Christmas ornaments. Because he's going to be here at Christmas.
Yes. And don't forget, get the what's the guy that hanged himself in the prison? Epstein. Get the Epstein ornament. I recommend everybody get the Epstein ornament. It's got a picture of Epstein. It says, this ornament didn't hang itself. Okay?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, perfect.
All right. Thank you. Great call, Mom. Appreciate you. By the way, I hope you let me come over, too. I'm coming over. All right. We'll talk to Sandra in Fort Worth coming up next to the Chris Crock Show. Plus your call. What are you doing for the holidays with your relatives who despise your political beliefs? What kind of family problems does this cause for you? Or maybe your friends have problems they've told you about in this realm. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. And guess how much we paid for Dr. Fauci's security, as he is a private citizen. We paid out a ton of money for his private security. I'll tell you how much. And this has ever been done before for somebody who is no longer in our employ. That is next to the Chris Crock Show as well. On News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. 800-288 WBAP is our number. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288 WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. In just a moment, we'll talk about Dr. Anthony Fauci, how we have paid out so many millions of dollars for his private security as a private citizen. You're not going to believe this, and who signed off on it and everything. I'm going to tell you about that in just a moment. And of course, see if you want to pay for his private security. 800-288-WBAP is our number. What are you doing for the holidays with your relatives who despise your political beliefs? What kind of family problems has this caused for you? Or maybe your friends have told you about family problems that this causes at the Thanksgiving or Christmas time gatherings. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Sandra in Fort Worth, hello. This is WBAP.
It doesn't pose a problem for me because I don't see it politically. I see it spiritually. So family members that don't believe in God, believe in homosexuality, are homosexuals, whatever, we don't exchange with. We just don't have, light and darkness can't have fellowship. You can pretend that things are different, but they aren't. You can pretend that things are okay, but they aren't. I'm a widow now, but my husband's brother was a homosexual. We had Thanksgiving with him twice, and that was more than enough. We hadn't celebrated Thanksgiving and Christmas ourselves because we have Christian beliefs, and we wanted to celebrate God and what God had given us. And that doesn't happen at a table where people are at odds morally.
Well, I mean, this is
I can't. And I know you'll probably ring me and rake me over the coals.
I'm just talking to you.
But I don't think it's loving to pretend that things are okay. I go by the Bible. The Bible says to separate from that kind of behavior. And I like Dr. Phil because he says you don't reward bad behavior. And when people believe in killing babies and they believe in all of this transsexual stuff and all of that stuff, they aren't people that I want as companions or friends. When I became a Christian in 1980, my friendship circle changed radically because I no longer believed and did the things that they did.
So
and I can't be friends. I can't be friends with the world.
Okay, so Dr. Phil said don't have relatives over that disagree with you politically. He said that to you,
I'm not talking about political. It's more than a political difference. If people are Democrats, they are for abortion. They are for all that.
Do you before you invite somebody over for the holidays or to your house, do you do a litmus test, like a political litmus test, and say, Sandra, relax, Sandra, you need to relax. I'm having a conversation. You've talked a lot. It's my turn. So before you would get to know somebody or develop a relationship with them, do you kind of put a kind of a stop up with your hand? Hey, stop a second. I need to know who you vote for and what your values are. Do you ask them that? How do you figure that out? Like, how do you figure that out?
I'm not talking about who you vote for.
No. I'm asking you a question.
No,
can you relax?
It's not about who you vote for.
Okay, I need you to relax.
Do you want God in your life or don't you? And if someone doesn't, then they don't behave the same way.
Cut them out. Okay, that's how Jesus was. He never had dinner at the table with the sinners. He never went to the sinners' houses. You nailed it. He would never go around sinners. Never. He didn't love the unlovable. He didn't go to the prostitute and say, "Go forth and sin no more. Don't stone her." You hear who first has cast the first stone. So you cast that stone. You nailed it, sister. You nailed it.
No, I don't.
Yes, you're nailing it.
No, I don't.
You wouldn't want to have dinner like Jesus did with the sinners.
I don't care.
You wouldn't want to have dinner like
do this to me, and I don't care.
I know, because you have your own, because you have your individual version of what Christianity is.
So you think?
Just read the Bible. You'll figure it out. See how many sinners Jesus was in contact with and he ministered to. He didn't go to help. What did he say? What were his words? I don't come to help I didn't come to help the healthy. You're hanging out with the healthy, Sandra. He went to the sick.
Like that.
He went to the sick, and you won't do that. I see. There you go.
It's a whole different thing.
Okay.
It's a whole different thing.
Oh, it sure is in your book. Now, let me ask you a question. Now, the whole topic of this wasn't spirituality. It wasn't about faith, right? The whole topic of this is about political. And so I talked about Jesse Waters' mom uninviting him for Thanksgiving because of political beliefs. I talked about a Yale psychiatrist who told Joy Reid, you should cut relatives out who have political differences than you. And I talked about how Sunny Hostin said the same thing. And unfortunately, she hung up just now, but she didn't even talk political. She added that in, though. But so it was like political and Christianity and everything like that. But I didn't bring up faith, but you did. And you're literally living the exact opposite of how the person you claim to live your life around lived. And the thing that if you live the life you're saying you live, the thing that you're supposed to do is literally realize that you are just as freaking far gone as the people you are denouncing. You may be just as far gone as the people you're denouncing in different ways. I can tell you I'm just as far gone as all the people you mentioned are. I'm no different to them. And I can tell you the people that led me to my faith in the fall of 2007 in Atlanta, Georgia suburb, literally welcomed my gay brother-in-law and his lover, boyfriend, whatever you want to call them, to their Thanksgiving table. And you know what they did? They showed them love. They showed them kindness. And I fear that if you have a son or a daughter that were to express these feelings, that you would cut them off out of your own life instead of loving them unconditionally and saying, you know what, I don't agree with what you're doing there, but I love you. To always be that hope and that love in their life, you would cut them off. They are a cancer. They are evil. You are just like the liberal leftist. Cut them out. You are saying to Joy Reid, this woke leftist, amen, sister. Cut them out. You go, girl. Now, we don't agree politically, but you go, girl. We cut you out of our lives. You cut us out of our lives. Hey, and by the way, I don't want you to be in the same aisle with me at the grocery store. Yes. And my pastor is certainly wrong, Dr. Robert Jefferson, when he says we have Democrats, we have Republicans in this church. We don't check that. That ain't part of what it is. It's not about that. But you got your own version. You've got it down. You nailed it. You nailed it. And I want your Bible to be coming out soon. I'm going to read that one. That'll be interesting. There's going to be a lot of pages missing. Woo. Ain't going to be no sinners fellowshipping with Jesus. You nailed it. I'm following her version. Screw all my relatives. Screw them all. Screw the nephew and the niece, including there's 2 from one side and 2 from another second marriage in that family. Screw them all. I'm the godfather of one of them. Screw them. Cut them out. By the way, I do think one of them is conservative. We had some great conversations. He's 21 now. Christmas time, we had a drink at Christmas time, and we were talking, and I'm like, he's got to be conservative. But you know what? Screw it. His family's liberal. Cut him off. Screw him. You know, and for the same reason, like, why does President Trump have a relationship with Putin? Why does President Trump have a relationship with Xi? Why does President, Xi Jinping, but also, Xi Jinping, but also Kim Jong-un? Screw him! Don't talk to Putin. Don't talk to Xi. Screw him! Hey, we might have a nuclear war because of that, but screw him! And screw your neighbor. My neighbor are totally far leftists. I've told you about this, right? Why would I want to work with them? He might be telling me about something going on in my neighborhood like he does all the time for protection, for safety, for other things, for issues. Screw him! You know, there was an idiot I'm not on the app of Nextdoor because I don't do that because my job's different. You know, my wife does it. And there's some poor loser who like put on there, I can't, like, after Trump won, they said something like, my wife read it too. It was so funny. It said like, I'm so depressed now. And then I told her, well, you know, if you wanted to mess with her, you could just reply, I'm so happy now. But that's it. Just put the exact opposite. But, people that can't be on Nextdoor without expressing their political beliefs are fools. They're twits. They're idiots. And, ma'am, I suggest you check yourself out and look in the mirror. I suggest you think about the things you've done where you've maybe mistreated your husband. Maybe you've mistreated your son. Maybe you did something in a car that you were mad at somebody and you cut them off and you, like, flipped them off. Maybe you were yelled at somebody. But to think that you have never sinned is the most naive and pathetic thing. And to think your sin is different than somebody else who might be gay. You are so freaking naive. It's amazing. But I did try to have a nice conversation with you. But she just hung up because she's right and I'm wrong. Well, just like the people that I've talked about over the years that like, how does this far leftist pastor preach this or that? They just rip out the pages of the Bible. Ma'am, I suggest you rip out pages of yours because, woo! You must have missed some stuff or you don't want to read it. Okay, coming up next, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Fauci, who should be in jail. Instead of being in jail, we have been paying millions for his security, private security. You are not going to believe this. Who approved it? Is it supposed to get renewed? Oh, my gosh. I'll tell you about that next. And then Ukraine is months away from building a nuclear freaking bomb if Trump cuts aid. Putin's forces are readying a large missile attack as the U.S. Biden vows North Korea troops response to the North Korean troops and their 10,000 of them. Rutrow Rastro. Trump may inherit a massive mess because of Biden's fecklessness. All that coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Dr. Fauci received $15 million in taxpayer funds for private security detail granted by the Biden Justice Department. U.S. Marshals. Can you imagine this? That they wouldn't send U.S. Marshals to come after to protect our Supreme Court justices. Remember that until there was a guy with a gun, duct tape, and then a knife, an axe, and all these other things that was going to break in and tie up and murder one of our justices. Before that happened, they wouldn't do any security detail. They were getting threats. People were releasing the information for their homes, where they live. But Dr. Anthony Fauci, a man who should be in jail for funding the China virus, which killed over 1 million of us, and then covering it up. And now we're paying for security, and he was paid $437,000, more than President Trump's salary. And Trump doesn't take a salary, but more than Trump's salary. It's disgusting. And we're paying $15 million for security for this pig who should be in jail. The costs cover a chauffeur and the United States Marshal Service security detail. The USMS, U.S. Marshal Service, operates under the Department of Justice. Protective detail for Anthony Fauci, January 2023 to August 2024. And it has the option to renew. So this is a year and 9 months, a year and 8 months of security that we paid for 24/7. How freaking disgusting is this, right? He kills us and we pay $15 million for security. This is the Biden Justice Department. It doesn't include expenses related to Fauci's private security. So I'll ask you this question. Are you okay with paying Dr. Fauci's private security? Shouldn't we be paying to house him in a jail, 3 hots and a cot? Instead? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. It doesn't include expenses related to Fauci's private security detail from April 2020 to 2022. So this man, December 2022, so he's had security for like 3 years and 8 months on our dime. And so if it's $15 million for a year and 8 months, how much were the first 2 years? $30 million? Or $18 million? It covers, in part, transportation costs, equipment for law enforcement, salaries, benefits for Fauci's personal security. The contract could be renewed or extended in the future, the agreement states. I pray that the Department of Justice under Trump looks at this and, well, first of all, they're going to cancel it, but I pray that they do look at and investigate Dr. Fauci for lying under oath and for possibly breaking the law with what he did to kill so many of us and cover it up. The report also notes it could find no other cases of listen to this, no other case. The Department of Justice and our government can find no other cases of a former federal employee receiving this level of protection. There are no cases like this, never before. Fauci is to be worshipped and bowed down to. This is disgusting. RFK Jr. lost his Secret Service protection after suspending his presidential campaign. They had death threats. Secret Service also denied 9 requests to bolster Trump's security prior to the assassination attempt. Just as I told you, let the guy get killed. Let's pretend like we're caring and doing the most, but let's play lax. And then when he dies, oh, we're so sad. That failed. Everything failed. Orange Man wins. Thank God. 2 former national security advisors in the Trump administration received Secret Service protection after they left the White House because of threats from Iran. Those are it was Pompeo and Bolton and one other one. He's come. I think his name is Sharp. He's back to be the guy, the emissary, whatever, for the Department of State or something. Anyway, the total cost taxpayers for both of Trump's security advisors, who the Iranians have been trying to kill, was over $12 million for two. So that's $6 million each, versus Dr. Fauci getting $15 million. Do you see this? For 1.5 of the 4 years he's been. This man's getting kingly royalty, presidential level security detail. His name came under fire after the White Coast Weights Project exposed that Fauci was funding cruel tests on animals. The Biden administration aware the agency was attempting to cover up its experiments on beagles, the Daily Caller reported in August. That report's from the Daily Caller, the whole thing. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, Ukraine is months away from building a nuclear bomb if Donald Trump cuts aid. Putin's forces are ready for a large missile attack as the U.S. vows North Korean troop response for, saying, Biden and his Antony Blinken's threatening action against the troops, North Korean troops. This is how war happens. Fecklessness leads to this. Trump, and you're going to hear how Trump literally could be inheriting a massive disaster like Afghanistan that they're going to blame him for, even though it's Biden's disaster. All that's coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3 at 10:03. 800-288 WBAP is our number.